Hi there, this is Emery from the Smart Recruiters products team. This is a detailed video covering Report Builder access restrictions. It will show step by step how an admin can set up reports to be shared with others, and will show off how a limited user can build their own reports. I'm starting off as Emery admin, which is an administrator role. Let's first make sure that our custom system roles are set up properly with limited access. So let's navigate to System Roles. And at the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead and edit this USA Local Admin. Report Builder is set to limited, which is what we want because this user will be creating limited reports with restricted data. I also want to make sure that access to all jobs is also limited because otherwise the data restrictions will not work properly if this person has full access to all jobs. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm next going to navigate to user settings. So I'll come down and click on user management, and I've already created a role called Emery Limited, which will be the individual that has a user role, which is a USA Local Admin, and has an access group which limits this person to only USA jobs. I'm now going to go back to settings and show off the Report Builder access restrictions. This is where we are setting up restrictions for data which need to be restricted by role. So we have two sections here, one for equal employment opportunity data and the other one for personally identifiable information. I'm going to go ahead and edit this PII. You can see here on the right that there are 4 columns of data points which are already restricted. So I know that candidate first name and last name is a field, but we also have candidate first name as its own separate data point. So I can go ahead and add that and do the same for last name. So I can very easily add and remove these columns. I'm not going to add them for now. I'll hit cancel. Secondly, I'm now going to show you role configuration. Here you can see all of the system roles, and this is our role that we're going to be focusing on today, the USA Local Admin. And it already has both EEO questions as well as personally identifiable information toggled on. So these restrictions apply to this role. All right, next I'm going to go to Report Builder and demonstrate how this all works in practice. I'm going to go ahead and select Applications Reports and edit this report. Let's do a quick run through of this so that we understand what this report's all about. First of all, there are no access limitations to this report currently. It is an application report from the reporting area. We already have 5 columns selected here of data points. And there are some data filters in place to restrict the amount of data we pull back. So application state new and is showing only candidates which are not deleted. We've already given it a name, and we already have this report shared with the creator, Emery Admin, as well as this Emery Limited role that we've created. So let's take a look at what the data output will be for this report once it's run in Excel. I'll navigate to the very bottom here, and you can see there are 565 rows of data for those 5 selected columns. We don't actually have any data in screening questions, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the access group of the USA jobs, and I'm going to change the system role so that it limits the data for the USA Local Admin. And immediately from the UI, we can see some changes. You can see that candidate first name, last name, email, and screening questions. So this bottom one is from EEO, and the top 2 are from PII data, are restricted. I haven't made any other changes. All the other details here in this report are the same. But when we run this as an Excel, you can see some changes. Firstly, column B, C, and E are now restricted, and you cannot see any of the data residing there. And when we go to the very bottom, there is less. The other report had 565, and this one has 549 rows. So this is because of the restrictions applied by Access Group. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and log out of the admin role and log in as a limited user so that you can see what the experience is of that role creating its own reports. You can see here Emery Limited, it's a local admin role. I'm going to go to Analytics, hit Report Builder, and here's that report that was shared with this user by the admin. And copy this report, and when I do, you can see that the UI is slightly different. At the top, I don't have any ability to change any of this information in access group, system role, or the system role restrictions. These are all predefined for me. And when I run this report, I get the same outcome as when the admin ran it. I would see this exact same view. Let's now go back to reports and create a new report. When I do that, again, I have the same experience at the top. These things are pre-selected for me. I have no control over them. I'm going to go ahead and create an applications report. And just like I did previously, I'm going to go ahead and select a field which I know is restricted. So when I start clicking on candidate first and last name, you can see here that there are restrictions in place across the board. I'm going to show the restricted data fields here. So it does let me select the restricted data field, candidate first name and last name. I can see here that data field is not accessible due to the applied restrictions. I'll go ahead and add other fields as well. So here, job ID. I'll go ahead and select it. And I'll name this report. When I create and run this report, I can see that after it loads, I'm going to go ahead and download it, click on XLS. And once the report downloads, I can see here that the first field, job ID, is not restricted. However, candidate first name and last name is restricted. So the restrictions are being enforced by the system and it's working as designed. Thank you very much.